Hello, welcome to Latest Wealth. My dear friends, I am Kailash. I am a financial advisor as well as wealth coach. In earlier episodes, we discussed about different sectors. In this episode, you are going to discuss about the banking sector. Of course, the banking sector, if you want to discuss, it takes a lot of time. That's why we have divided this into two episodes. Please watch two episodes fully. Don't skip anything. In this episode, you are going to learn about what is the future of banking sector, what are the advantages of banking sector, what are the disadvantages of banking sector, what are the key points, and finally, who are the players. These we are going to discuss in first episode. In second episode, we are going to discuss some other more details. So please watch fully these episodes. Let us start. Banking sector group is financials, classification, commodity business, industries, public sector banks and private banks. Let us see the market size. The Indian banking system consists of 27 public sector banks and 21 private sector banks, 49 foreign banks, 56 regional rural banks, 1562 urban cooperative banks and 94,384 rural cooperative banks, in addition to the cooperative credit institutions. In financial year 07-18, total lending increases at CAGR of 10.94% and total deposits increased at CAGR of 11.66%. India's retail credit market is the fourth largest in the emerging countries. It increased to $281 billion on December 17th from $181 billion on December 2014. Such a robust growth is happening in banking sectors. My dear friends, when I say about banking sectors, immediately a lot of things will start popping up in your mind. Yes, I know. Some of the scams, the recent scams in India, some of the positive things. Yes, a lot of things are happening in banking sector, and nowadays for recently banking sector was in a downtrend. Most of the public sector banks were just like a sales, because due to NPA, non-performing assets, lot of people, big industrialists, they take the money from the banks, they have not given, and it has become a big liability for the banks, and lot of newspapers they have covered it. This you might have seen in the newspapers, right? And let us see what is the prospects of bank in a neutral manner, not favoring anybody, not against anybody. Because as a stock market investor, just don't go only with the newspaper headings, my friends. You have to go in detail. This is a stock market beginner's course. Here we have been discussing about different sectors. In earlier episodes, we discussed about airlines, automobile, auto ancillaries, aluminum sectors. Now this episode exclusive for banking sector. My dear friends, this episode actually is not concluded with one. We are going to create one more episode also. Please watch this episode fully. Now let us go. What are the future of the banking sector, not only in India, in any other country? Let us go by first point, domestic economic growth. Now tell me, for last 30 years, economy is growing or coming down? You tell. Obviously, you can say yes, economy is growing. How? Because, my friends, banks are playing a vital role. Yes, banks are playing a vital role in industrial growth, economic growth, educational growth, medical growth. Everywhere, directly or indirectly, banks are playing a vital role. Now tell me, so for the economic growth, there is a need of banks in terms of term loans, home loans, car loans, industrial or business loans or personal loans. So this is the one point. So future, naturally, everybody is behind the loans, and any economy has to grow, they depend on the banks. First point. Second, there is a strong demand for financial services like home loans, commercial loans, credit card loans and mutual funds. There is a lot of money transactions are being happening through the banks. So there also banks play vital role. Now banks has become like almost like a blood in our body. If there is no blood, there is no blood flow, what will happen? Body may collapse. Same way, almost if banks collapse, country may collapse. Like that, the situation has happened. Now let's go into the third point. As we discussed earlier, there is a growing population as well as income is also keep on increasing. When the population is growing on, definitely you have to go to bank. You have to do some transactions in the bank. And when the income is keep on raising, when the disposable income is more, naturally you have to do either you have to do fixed deposit, you have to take the loan, and you will be purchasing some new items. And when you don't have sufficient money, once again you have to knock the doors of the bank. So naturally banks is going to grow like anything, but there are minus points also there in this sector. We'll deal afterwards, right? Yes. Next point is there is a rapid urbanization. And a lot of industries are coming up because generally there are two types of industries. One type of industries, they focus on the urban population. Some other industries, they are focusing on the rural areas. Wherever may be industry. So when the urban population is growing on, there is a heavy need of bankings. Banking system is very much useful for growth of industry as well as urban development. So urbanization is increases, industrial increases, means it directly affects the growth of banking sector. Next point. Earlier there were not that so many branches in rural areas. Now there is an increase of demand of the banks in rural areas. This is also now most of the famous banks. For example, if you take ICICI Bank or HDFC Bank, earlier they used to open the branches in big cities, class 1 cities only. Now if you go in a small town also, you can find HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank like this. Newcomers they are entering into small rural areas also. For example, if you see Bandhan Bank, they are spreading the roots among the rural sectors. Because in rural sectors, people are waiting to take the two-wheeler loans, car loans and all. So to sell them, banks are growing. Next, let's point. 6 is awareness among the people of using the banks. In India, what happened long time back, people are not interested to keep the money in the banks. They used to keep the money in the homes. Everything they are keeping in the form of gold or cash, liquid cash. Nowadays, what happened? A lot of awareness has come due to advent of technology, due to internet facilities. Earlier, why people are not in keeping the money in the bank was, okay, suppose Friday they need money in evening. How can take the money? There are no ATMs, there are no online transfers. So what they used to do, if they need money in Friday evening, Saturday, suppose Saturday is a holiday, second Saturday, Sunday is a holiday, suppose Monday is a festival, then they have to wait till Tuesday. On Tuesday morning, heavy crowd in the bank. So much of crowd, people used to think, why my money I am depositing in the bank, I have to stand in so much of long queues, because at the time no computers. Everything the accountant was writing in his books. So it was taking hell of time. To withdraw a check, almost 2 to 3 hours time it was taking. That's why people used to avoid the banks. Nowadays what happened? Everything is a help of technology. Even people can do transactions over the mobile phones. That's the reason banks in future, they are going to expand like anything. So these are the future points we'll discuss. Now let us come into stock market point of view. What are the advantages of banking sector? Let us see what are the advantages of banking sector. One is very strong demand for banking sector, including fee service. There are two services. One is free, another is fee. There is a heavy demand for both free as well as fee structure, because people they want to save time, money and energy. Importantly, they want to save time and energy. Whichever the bank is providing these facilities, people are going behind the bank, and the banks are growing like anything. For example, if you take HDFC, they have taken the advantages of technology and they started developing their bank. Like ICICI Bank, same the way there is a heavy demand from the people side. Two is our RBI is a plus point for our Indians. My dear friends, in 2008, There were the global shock waves of the international banking sectors, but it has not at all affected any Indian banking sector. Even global meltdown of some of the countries, it has not affected our banking sector because our RBI's conservative monetary policy helps our banks to stand still without any effect of international monetary factors. You would have seen that is a plus point for our Indians, whereas other countries they may be depending on only one or two types of industries, whereas India is a versatile industries and versatile people habits, versatile culture. It has helped to stabilize our banking sector. Third point, for last 20-30 years there is a rapid growth in infrastructure projects. Either it may be buildings, it may be bridges, it may be canals, culverts, dams, or whatever you say. This may be increase of office campuses. So what will happen? This is forcing banking sector to open banks in urban and semi-urban areas. This is also one advantage for banking sector for future. Fourth is proper usage of technology in the banking. Implement of new technology like a mobile banking, net banking, ATM services, cash depositing machines. What will happen? These all, when the bank started using the technology, there is a reduction cost in manpower. So what happened? That causes little bit increase of margins for the banks, and in the remote areas also people are able to use the banking services. And that too, earlier banking service was from 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Now it has become like a 24/7 banking. So this is also one technical advantage, and in future more technology they are going to use, especially when they start using the blockchain technology. People trust on the banks will start increasing more. That leads to future growth of the banks. My dear friends, now you may be saying, Kailash, you are saying all the positive factors. What about negative factors? What are the disadvantages? Yes, my friends, everywhere advantages means disadvantages will be there. When you are having a pros, cons also should be there. When you are having a strong point, there must be some weak point. Let us go into what are the weak points or disadvantages. First disadvantage is NPA, non-performing assets. Recently you might have seen, that's what I was discussing initially in our episode. Some, especially power sector, some of the airline companies, some of the infrastructure companies, they took huge amount of loans from the bank. They are unable to repay to the bank. That causes, it has become like a NPA. It has become a liability on the bank side. It has become a burden for the bank side. Some of the people, so fraudulent people, of course, everywhere they are there. They took the huge amount from the bank and they are not repaid. That has become biggest liability for especially public sector banks in India. However, 2 years back the scene was like this. Now for last 1 year, once again they started recovering from that NPA effect. However, it may not going to last long. They are going to make strict rules, and the strict rules also sometimes it may become disadvantage for the bank. Now one more thing is implementation of BES 3 norms from 2013. What will happen is, with this the banks may not be able to raise the capital due to change in RBI policies. For the details, you refer our other episodes. You can have more details about banking sector. Next, the third disadvantage is, suppose in future RBI, if it increases repo rates, it may affect the performance of the banking sector, because every frequently RBI will be conducting some other meetings, and there may be some monetary controls they will be putting up, some of the monetary restrictions that may affect the banking sector. That may be temporary, but after some time once again it will get cured. Fourth point is, there may be high deposit or savings bank interest rates due to high repo rate. Generally what will happen when the RBI increases the repo rates, they have to go with the high fixed deposit rates, high savings bank rates. It may cause disadvantage for the banking sector. Fifth is, some of the government policies may give big blow on banking sectors. Like nowadays, lot of politicians, they are coming with the promises. like a waiving of the loans for the farmers, waiving of the loans for some of the industries. Like this when they are doing, so what will happen, that may become burden for the banks who have given lot of money in lendings. So it will become like a NPA, or they have to write into expenses. It will cause increase of expenses, and it will affect the decrease of profits. So this is one more reason for the banking disadvantages. Next, what are the important indicators for the bank? 1. Advance and deposit growth. Yes, my friends, if the advances and deposit growth are there, it will directly show the profitability of the banks. 2. Asset quality, gross and net NPS. Suppose they are having a good asset quality, naturally it will have a good profit ratios. And if they are having a non-performing assets, more non-performing assets, if they are unable to clear, then it will create a big problem for banks. 3rd is net interest margins. 4th is current and saving accounts to total deposit ratio. 5. Fund to non-fund based earnings ratio. Now let us see who are the key player companies in stock market. Public sector banks, State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, Bank of India and IDBI Bank. When it comes to private banks, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, S Bank, Federal Bank and recently Bandhan Bank. My dear friends, with a small episode, hope you got some knowledge about the banking sector, how it is, what is the future, what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages of banking sector. And thank you for watching. Keep watching, and if you are not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. And till we meet again, and next episode we are going to create one more deep analysis about banking sector, as well as we are going to come with some other sectors. Please keep watching. Till we meet again, enjoy every bit of life. Have a nice day and bye bye.